Hey gang, well, you asked for it, you got it. More Joe Walsh. This time we're doing something from his James Gang days. We'll do the solo from Walk Away. You know, he's really the king of making every single note count, and this is a great example of it in this song. All right, well, you know the drill. We'll do the demo first, then we'll do the lesson. We'll see you in just a second. All right, gang, let's go over this in some detail now. First things first, you can download the tab from the link in the description. It might make your life a little bit easier. The second thing is let's talk briefly about the chords, because this solo basically follows the chords, or should I say chord. It's basically a one-chord vamp or a riff, which is an A chord with that little Keith Richards-esque sort of extension to a D. So you can think of this as basically notes out of an A chord, or he's aiming for notes in an A chord. All right? So here we go. Here's the slow-mo. It's pretty slow already, but I'll play a little bit slower version of the solo. Let's break it down now line by line. There aren't too many of them, so here we go. Let's start out with this one. Pretty characteristic of this song. He's basically playing with an A chord. All right, so sliding up to the third of A. This is the third of A, right? Here's a triad. Right, so there's the 1, there's the 3, there's the 5. So he's sliding up to the 3 from 4 to 6 on the third string, or on the G string. And then playing, going up to the 6th, and then he does something that he often does, and he bends up to that same note. And then gives it a little vibrato. All right, so here's the line again. Now what I like about this is typical sort of Joe Walsh bend, a nice slow, lazy bend that eventually gets there. It's so much of a good contrast to the kind of manic bending that people do. He's taking his time to get to that note, and I really dig that about his style. All right, now we're going to do it again. Great solo construction. Call and response. This time the response is exactly like the call. Now here's the third line. All right, very similar line, but this time we're going to bend up to the flatted 7th of A, which is a G. So it's a little more edgy than that 6th note. Bend it down, or let it come down to the 7th, and then play. This note right here is a pre-bend, so you got to pre-bend this to half step from the 6 on the 3rd string, which is a C sharp. You got to bend it to that D, and then slowly let it come down, and then play the A or the 5th fret on the 1st string. So he's just playing out of chords, and it just sounds great. All right, so that's the first half of the solo. Here is the second half. Very similar to how we ended it before, sliding up again from 4 to 6 on the 3rd string, and then playing 5, 7, and then bending up to the 8th, which is a flatted 7th. It's the G. Second note, or second time, is this. That's pretty neat. So this is the one that's the harmonized line, and we'll talk about the harmony in just a second. But this is going from 10, 12, 13, and then 14. But instead of playing 14 itself, we're going to bend up from 13 to 14. All right, again, this is the A, the B, the C, and the C sharp. C sharp is the third of A, so that's a nice note to end up on. All right, here's the harmony part. The harmony part, or I don't know if this is the first part. Maybe you could think of this as the first part and the other being the harmony. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But the harmony part goes 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's a little chromatic line. And again, on the 9, we're just going to bend up to it instead of playing it directly. So thinking about this, what we're doing is now we're starting at the third. Remember, we started this at the A. We'll start this at the third of A, which is a C sharp. And we're going up to the E, which is the fifth of A. So we're starting at the A and the third. So those are all kind of neat notes. Those are the notes that we're aiming for, and it's a nice little harmony. So that's pretty cool. I like that little simple harmony. So here we go. Here's the last line. Very country-esque and also very Joe Walsh. So here we're going back to this A minor pentatonic, or A major pentatonic, excuse me, position, right? We're going to bend on the third string, on the fourth fret. We're going to bend it up to that C sharp, a whole step bend. And we're going to hold it there, and then we're going to grab on the first string. This is the hardest lick in the solo here. We're going to bend on the first string and play that on the fifth fret. And we're going to hold this note down as we have bent it up. Come back to it. So we're going on the top, we're going on the first string 5, 4, 2, second string 5, and that's basically it. And then we'll play that, right? So we're holding this fourth fret bent up a whole step the whole time. Okay, and then we're just playing this. And that's the end. Very country-esque sort of thing. It's hard to get that bend exactly, so take your time with it to make sure that you bend to it well and that you hold that bend when you're playing, especially on the first string. That's a bit of a stretch and it's a little bit difficult, especially for beginners. It's not fast, but it's a difficult, precise bend to do. I wanted to tell you also one last thing is that you can either pick that by playing on the first string or you can use pick and fingers. I tend to use pick and fingers, but you can use the pick just as well. It works well. Practice that lick. It's used all over the place in this, in plenty of other places, not just Joe Walsh. So that's a great lick to learn. All right, gang, there you go. Joe Walsh from his James Gang days, the solo to Walk Away. Really a great example of making every note count. I think you'll agree. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hey, if you did, why don't you hit the like button and why not subscribe? All right, we will see you on down the road.